Hi everyone, it's Cherry Enchantress. So, my friend V Love and Crystals, at V Love and Crystals, one of these days I gotta find out her real name, gave me this idea to talk about. Okay, so this is Merry Crafting, Edging, and Trimming, about different things that you can do to your decks. And she's been very creative. Like, she repurposes them. She writes her own like symbols on them. She edges them with markers and different things, and just really makes certain decks her own, which makes me think of so many different people. One of the people that I think is really interesting is Carol Herser. She has created, it's kind of like a Rider-Waite deck. You guys need to go check it out. When I love edging, I love silver edges, and I love the foil, tops. And so I often am Googling, for cards that have these kinds of things. And like one time I just put glitter in my Google search or whatever, and then this lady, Carol Herser, popped up. And what she does is she takes Rider-Waite decks and she kind of like embellishes them with her own art, her own colors. Like, she enhances the coloring, and she puts glitter and all kinds of interesting stuff. And then I guess she laminates it. And so she has very creative, unique cards, artistic cards that she makes in variety of sizes. So that might be something that you might like to look at. She does a really has a really great business, I guess. She's fairly popular. And so I was thinking V Love and Crystals kind of reminds me a little of that, but so much more, All right, and another person in V Love and Crystals has her own shout outs, but I'm going to shout out Katey Flowers, who is the first one who got me into trimming and edging, okay? So first of all, I'm just going to show you this little deck. You've seen it before. This is my very first Oracle deck, Ferry forecast version. So I was attracted to like the heart-shaped decks, and I decided to make my own deck in this is supposed to be fairy shape. I know it looks like a butterfly, but see the fairy in the middle, and that's her wings. And then each card has like just a one-word thing. So the reason why, I would have put a lot more wording or explanation, is it's just that I was trying to find like some kind of printing program where you can print, one side as your main picture and the other side as the wording, or whatever you want to do, but so that it would match up. So you could print these cards out, these shapes out, in like tarot size or oracle size or whatever. But I couldn't find a printer program for my printer, or cards or anything to go with it. And if anybody out there knows of something, please let me know. But that made me stumble upon makeplayingcards.com. Okay, so my next endeavor was this deck that I made on makeplayingcards.com, and the stock that I use is just kind of plain, and I think it was plastic or something like that. But anyway, it's a little bit flimsy, and if I do this again, I'm going to try to use something a little bit different, thicker, whatever. But this was my first go, and it turned out okay. And the one thing that I didn't do, though, was edge it. Had it edge on site, so I edged it myself later. It's kind of hard to see, though, because the edge that the color that I used is called Starlight Silver. Okay, so this comes from Katey's site, Katey Flowers. She is the one that talked about this Brilliance brand, and there's other brands out there, but Brilliance is really a nice brand. And you can do all kinds of stuff, but this is what I used for this deck, the Starlight I feel like it's, okay, so there's two different silvers. There's Starlight Silver and Platinum Planet. And I wanted to have that really, you know, bold, strong silver color that my tarot that you can see. So when I'm making the Enchanted Romance, I made sure to get that silver for at least one version of this deck. It cost a little bit more, and so that's why to sell it, I would have to spend a little bit more to sell it to you guys, especially because I also got the box and everything. So I went all out on this deck. But yeah, I like, so that's kind of a starlight sparkle because there's other kinds of silver as well. So for example, The Wisdom of the Hidden Realm by Colette Baron Reed, hers is this like a very solid block of silver. I mean, it's like a mirror effect kind of thing. That would be also cool if I could get that effect. So these things, these, as wonderful as they are, don't exactly give that intense effect, but they do give a quite nice effect to the cards. Also, that being said, eventually the edging does wear off. So here's an example. I've had the Romance Angels by Doreen Virtue for quite a while now. This is like maybe the second deck that I bought starting this channel. And so the edge is a little kind of like, you know, fading just a little bit now. But they're still a little bit golden. But before it was kind of like a sheet of gold. It was kind of you know, kind of a mirror-like, and then you can see in the corners how they are coming, kind of fading a little bit. So that does happen, and you know, I can totally go back and touch these up again, which I just might do, you know. It's kind of a relaxing type of thing to do. And so the next thing that I edged was my very first tarot deck that I used for the channel is the Shadowscapes Tarot here. So let me show you that. So in the Shadowscapes Tarot, I used the Starlit one instead of Starlit Silver instead of the Platinum. Platinum should give like the solid mirror-like sheet of silver effect, and the Starlit has more of the sparkle effect. But I find that the sparkle effect catches the light better a little bit, and it looks more like what I want. So I think that I'm going to go with this from now on for my silver anyway. And so yeah, but I also have this pen over here, this marker, which the Sharpie is amazing. So this silver Sharpie works really good too, and it really has a nice sheen to it, and it's a very simple kind of way to use it. So yeah, so that's a possibility right there. There's certain, I've tried several different things, but this brand and this style, you know, the water-based paint is a very good product. I think it works really well. And so there you go with that. So now I'm going to show you some things that I've trimmed and that I've well, I'm going to show you one more card that I edged. All right, so it was my Tarot Botticelli, which is this nice foil. And so what happens is most decks that have the foil usually don't have the edging. And I could go back and do this gold, but I decided to try one of these other colors out, and I tried the copper. And so Cosmic Copper is what I tried on this, and that's kind of how Cosmic Copper turns out. You know, so I might go back and touch that up. If you can see, some cards maybe didn't make it, and that's something you might find that you might have to do more than once. The reason why I chose Cosmic Copper is because some of these cards, even though like the gold really stands out, like mixed like there's sort of that rosy glow to them, you know, so I thought copper would kind of complement the rosy glow. Also, you can edge in black too, like a lot of these cards that have the black borders really look beautiful and with a black edging. I've seen people do that a lot. Here's another card deck, The Wisdom of the Hidden Realms, Colette Baron Reed, which has kind of like that solid sheet of gold as well. But her, you know, like a lot, you know, of cards that over time, you just, either you touch it up or you just deal with the fact that it kind of wears down a little bit. But yeah, that's one of the things you can do. I feel like I haven't tried gold yet, which is going to be my next experiment, to choose one of these decks and gold edge them. So let me show you a card that I trimmed. So in my flip through of the Crystalvisions Tarot, it's a really beautiful, beautiful back. One of the prettiest backs I've ever seen in a deck. Had a very thick white border around it that I just didn't like, which is one of the reasons that I put off buying it for such a long time. And so I decided to go ahead and trim it. This was very easy to trim, as in easy that there was an easy border, you know, and nothing got cut off, you know. Well, maybe, I'm not sure if the numbers got cut off or not, but definitely, you know, the important parts didn't get cut off. You know, you still have the very strong wording of what each card is. And so here's a deck that I might like to try to edge in some way, you know, with silver or gold. But so the supplies that I used to trim those was just a simple pair of scissors and these corner rounders. This is what one of the things that Katey was showing. So I accidentally bought this big one. So here's a little tip. Don't buy large, because the rounding the corners of most tarot and oracle cards, that would be too big. You want to get this one, I think is 5mm, and I think this might be considered small. So the small one is probably the better for most tarot, because that's, you know, that just fit exactly like that, and there you go. Also, so that's one deck that I trimmed and did the corner rounding on, and let me show you a bunch more. So pretty much all of Lucy Cavendish's that I've bought, I've done it. You know, initially I was like hesitant because I wanted to keep it pure, and then I realized, I mean, I just like so much better how the artwork stands out without all the extra, you know, border around it, and then it lends itself really easily for edging or whatever you want to do. So I think I might go ahead and edge these. They're just really beautiful, magical cards, and you know, I feel like they deserve that extra special touch to them. And these, as big as they are, were rounded by the 5mm. So I'm just saying that's what you should use for the big oracle cards as well. Also, you know, it makes it a little bit easier shuffling. You hold it in your hands a little easier, and after they're trimmed, they're actually a little bit easier to shuffle because they're not all the exact same size. You know, you try to do it pretty perfectly, but it's not always easy. So let me show you the other ones. They're all pretty much the same. Here's the Dragon Fate Oracle. So see how these are just really beautiful, and I just felt like they deserved to, you know, stand out without a border. They're very bold, and I thought they deserved it, you know. And so this one, I feel, also deserves a nice edging. And here's Fairy Forest, this one also. So this one, I felt lent itself better just to leave just a tiny sliver of border, and that worked a little bit better. But you know, that it all depends on your taste. You could go in deeper if you wanted to. And the card has a place in the front where if you wanted to cut along the black line, you totally could, and it would work out fine, except then it would cut into a little bit of the brown but not take all the brown away. So you just have to sort of decide for yourself what's worth it. But I definitely like it better like this, and I also did it in a way so that the sizes would match up more or less, you know, like I didn't want them to be too different. I wanted all my oracle cards to be kind of like similar size and not too much variation, you know, to them. And I also did it with the Wild Wisdom of the Fairy. So same thing with the Wild Wisdom of the Fairy. I went ahead and just left a little white border on them. But they had like a thicker tan border that just, I don't know, it just didn't seem right. And by doing that, I did end up cutting a little bit of the number, but not so much that I don't recognize what the number is. And I like it a lot better, you know. It's just, to me, it's like easier to shuffle. It's also easier for camera display purposes, you know, when I'm laying them down for the piles, that kind of thing. And then that again, it keeps everything about the same size kind of thing, you know. So then all my decks are about the same size. So actually, this is one that I've been planning to edge next. And so if you want to, maybe I did edge these. They look a little shiny. Oh, I think I did. Let's see. You can kind of tell. So see, the difference is this edging is the probably the Platinum Planet instead of the Starlight Silver. So there's the Platinum Planet is not quite as sparkly. I think the Starlight Silver would capture the light a little bit better. But that's one that I edged. So I plan to do the other ones kind of similarly with the silver. So if you'd like to see how, it's pretty simple, but I can show you how. Here's one, the Oracle of the Unicorns, which I have not done. And you can kind of see why, because the image goes all the way to the edge. So this is one that I wouldn't do. And this is, you know, it's a little bit large. It's large for my hand, you know, compared to the other ones. So this was one that I would have liked to match up, but it's okay because, you know, the images go all the way to the border. So that's, to me, is perfect. Also, just want to show really quick the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. Here's one where I would have liked somehow to trim it so you can really see the image, but you would have to end up cutting out too much. But so this is one of those card decks you have to sort of work with what you got. Although, I mean, the images are pretty amazing, and yeah, otherwise there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration, where the number is, where the words are, and that sort of thing. But the backing, you know, would have lent itself for easy trimming. There's just not, you know, no real reason to save all that. It's just, yeah, you would have to end up trimming a lot of in the number and everything if you really wanted to trim away that kind of archy thing. But it's a very nice, you know, it's just, it is what it is. I found this at a fair or whatever on sale, so I was like, you know, I like this and I'm going to get it anyway, even though I had put off getting it because of this border thing. So sometimes you work with it and sometimes you can change it. So let me show you how I add the edge. So I think I'm going to try and edge these with this Sharpie, mainly because for this purpose it dries really fast. The Brilliance ones dry a little bit slower, and there's a little bit of cleanup involved. So make sure you have paper towels, a wet paper towel, a dry paper towel, and something to lay your cards on, because you have to let them out to dry just a little bit. But I feel like with this, I can maybe stack them, so we're gonna try that. I'm gonna stack a few, and then I'll let you see how it turns out. See, I'm already messing up, but see, with there you have to get like a paper towel. And so on. I'm not as talented as Katey or V on the edging, and I don't know. I mean, the other times that I've tried, I haven't really used the marker. I'll show you the difference too between using a marker. That's what I'll do. I'll just show you the difference between using the marker and then also going around the edges can be a little tricky. Alright, so the difference between using the marker is that it dries really fast, so you might like that. But let me show you how to use the little pads, the little ink pads. The little ink pads are really easy too, so you just kind of see how much you get. A lot of ink on from the ink pads. That's why you need a little bit more paper towels, drying time, and other things to clean as you go. But this would be sort of a very solid application if you wanted that. See, you can already see the shine of it, so this would definitely be, to me, a little bit. But see, you're going to have to do a little bit of cleaning. So that's what I had to do on my other cards. Just touching up as I go. But yeah, that is one way to do that. So I'm not going to do a bunch for you, but maybe in the future I will show you what it looked like when I'm done, or I can add it to this video in the future. And I'll decide which ones that I'm going to. I think I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to finish it with the Starlight Silver, because that looks nice. Okay, so, alright, I'll show you an updated video, and I hope you like. It's not really a tutorial, it's just kind of showing you what I've done so far, and some of the things that I've tried, and I haven't yet tried with markers or other colors other than the copper, silver, and gold. And I haven't even tried gold yet, so I'm excited to try gold. Okay, you guys, well, I hope you like that. Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust.